Welcome, everybody. This is Paranormal, and we are your hosts. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Kaz.
And today's episode is all about going on a ghost hunt. But yeah, so we have a lot of stuff to talk about. And yeah, it's just that time of the year. Lots of spooky things happening.
Some good, some bad, because we've been on both. So yeah, we're going to talk about, I think, more of the good ones. And then maybe we can discuss the not so good ones, and not naming names of not so good ones, just what makes a not good one.
Yes.
That's what I meant.
Exactly. So I guess for a little update about the Paranormal Seekers, we've been busy. Lots of stuff going on. We're literally in the middle of our busy month. But all of our months are busy. But this one, spooky season, got lots of events. Yeah, so we just got done week 3 of 4. Well, weekends, we should say. So we're pretty much almost done our spooky season events. So this past weekend, we did 2 public investigations. So that means that we did investigations of locations, and people bought tickets and came out with us. I should mention that these ticket sales are done by these locations, not by us. We don't keep the money. Proceeds go to the museums, because without the museums, there would be no Paranormal Seekers.
Absolutely.
So our first one was we went to Lang Pioneer Village on Friday, and then we did Scugog Shores Museum on Saturday. So we had some pretty interesting stuff happen.
We absolutely did. And the great thing about these events is because we are legitimate, we don't go in ahead of time and rig stuff and do whatever. So everything is live as it happens, and we can walk into a place and it be dead, and the next group walk into a place and it's crazy busy. But I think for the most part, on both nights, it was a fairly active night. I don't think our customers left unhappy at all. Like, they were all, as they were leaving, like, oh my God, that's so good. I can't believe it. So there we go. It was a success.
I don't have the time to fake stuff. I'm too busy.
But what's the point? Right? Really, what's the point?
Exactly.
It goes against what we're doing and what we stand for anyways. But I don't know, because then you just get a reputation, and then, we know, like, there's certain people in the community that do those things and pretend to be what they're not. I mean, one person in particular, funnily enough, we've all been on that person's I don't even know what it would be, event, we'll say. And to be honest, it's really entertaining.
Yeah.
But you should have somewhere in brackets entertainment purposes only, and not let people believe that you're legitimately who you say you are, and that the things that are happening are paranormal.
Yeah.
Because they're all rigged. It's a great time.
And when they find out, when they find out exactly what you do, they just lose their train of thought, because they're like, oh crap, these people know that this is fake, not real.
Yeah. Like, I'm all for, being like, this is just for fun, but we're going to have a great spooky time. Woo, that's And I did appreciate the fact that we got to like move around the place. I've been to 2 of that person's events, and we got to actually tour around the buildings. But it was just a shame that it was so fake. So fake. But ours are not. They're legit. And so when stuff does happen, we are just as excited as the people, maybe more so, because we're like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. But it's great.
So for those of you who don't or haven't been on one of our public investigations, usually what happens, so a lot of the time they're at multi-building locations, and we split everybody into groups, and groups move clockwise through the buildings, and our team members move counterclockwise, meaning that every time that a new group enters a building, they have a different team member and different equipment with them, so they can see the difference. And because we all have different ways of investigating, so they're not just stuck with one person and those pieces of equipment for the whole night. So they kind of get a feel and a see of everything, which is
Absolutely.
I think that's pretty cool. Like,
I do too. I think, sorry, Karen.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, we're going to get into this a little later on. We've kind of gone through provinces, and we're going to discuss some of the things they do. I haven't found a single one that has paranormal investigators that go out with you, and you're actually investigating. Most of it's like, let's go stand in front of this building and talk about the ghosts. So this is hands-on. You're with us doing the investigation with the equipment. And like you said, like, we have all the bells and whistles, so everyone gets a chance to experience how we each do things, all the equipment. It's amazing. It's the closest someone's going to come to ghost hunting without being a ghost hunter.
Yeah. And a lot of the times too, people don't realize we will actually hand a piece of our equipment to you and say, here, you operate it and let us know what it says. And people really like that, because I know there's some teams, I don't know if they're still around, some events and stuff that happened where you were on a public investigation, and you literally just followed these team members around, and they just did everything. So it was kind of, crap.
Yeah.
Say. And if you're paying that much money to do something, I would expect to be doing something, not just following somebody around like a lost puppy and kind of just observing what they're doing. Like, that to me is not a ghost hunt or a paranormal investigation. You're just following someone.
Absolutely. And like, when we're in these places, for the most part, depending where we are, you have free reign of that building. So you go upstairs, downstairs, and we really encourage the groups, take the lead, ask questions. If you feel like you need to go into this room with the piece, we could do it. Like, that's exciting to us because we do it all the time.
Yeah.
So to have someone really be in, and how many people both nights had their own equipment,
I know.
whether it was a spirit box, an ovulus, or like the apps, and they're all like, I'm going to turn it on and do it. But we were just like, great, we don't have to do a thing. It was amazing.
That's what I encourage. Like, when we say our little spiel at the beginning, like, people, like, take the lead. Like, if you want to just do the whole thing, I will sit back and watch, because that's what I want you guys to do. I want you to enjoy your night, and do something that you normally probably wouldn't do if you're just not your average, you're not a paranormal investigator, you just really enjoy this stuff. So it's I like to encourage those people to actually step out of their comfort zone and actually get involved, ask questions. I don't care if they sound stupid to you. Like I say, paranormal investigating is all about getting, asking the questions and getting answers. So you need to, have fun and ask those questions, get involved. I know some people are shy and stuff, but I totally understand that. But it's just, you get, just do it.
Exactly. Exactly. And once they start, then we're off to the races. And as we usually say, like, especially if it's a place that we've done multiple times, the spirits there are like, oh, you guys are back again. Like, get out of here. So when someone new asks them, they're almost like, oh, well, I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you. And then away it goes. Yeah. So it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And I think it just gives people an understanding that not everything that claims to be haunted is or is going to be insanely active from the time you walk in, which is sometimes a bit of a letdown, but it's also the reality of what we do. So I was saying that to a group. I'm like, listen, sometimes we go to a place and it's like crickets for ages, and then stuff might happen or it never happens. And so then that way, when we were in certain building and nothing was happening, I'm like, see, this is what happened.
Like we say, not performing circus monkeys.
Exactly. And because we don't really have a full understanding of the spirit realm, who knows whether they're here, I don't know. I don't understand if they stay or go, or if they lose power. I don't know. So, or if they're just literally like, can you get out? I need to go to
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am done pressing buttons and flashing lights. Yeah.
That's
I
great.
don't know. But I highly encourage you, if you live in the area, or if you don't, buy a plane ticket. Come see us and join one of our events, because it's so worth it. It really is worth it.
Part of my cough, but yeah, definitely. And we do a lot of other stuff too. We don't just normally we do public investigations, but we do a lot of like, meet and greet, presentations, all that kind of stuff. So it's not just paranormal investigations for public events. So yeah, but yeah. So have you been on any public events or like spooky things that you would like really like to do again?
Well, as you know, my sister and I do a spooky ghosty thing every year, and we pick a different place and we go there. So I mean, it's hard to say. We were in, are you talking about just in Canada?
Anywhere,
Okay.
just anywhere.
Because I'll be honest, we haven't explored much of Canada because it is so expensive to fly within Canada somewhere. It is literally cheaper to fly to another country and go there on a vacation. How sickening is that? So I would have to say I am absolutely dying to go back to Savannah, Georgia. We had a phenomenal time there. We caught one of the best pieces of evidence I think I've ever caught. And so I would absolutely go back there in a heartbeat. Not to mention, it's just stunning. Like, it's such a beautiful place. I'm trying to think. I guess I'd really like to go back to England because, I mean, I visited a few haunted places while I lived there, including the house I lived in. But I would like to dedicate more time to go back and actually do stuff. Locally, before meeting you guys, I just found that most of it was either like quite fake, like I said, or it's just the haunted walks, which are very educational. But I'm spoiled now because of what we do, but I can't stand just walking up and looking at a building and they're like, people died here. Woo, and then we walk on. Like, okay, let me in.
Yeah. I've done all the haunted walks in this province for the most part. All of the ones actually within the Haunted Walk brand.
Okay.
So we've done a lot of those. We did the one in Niagara, which is their own, which was actually really good. But I do know now, and that's the thing, like, I'll just get into it now, is that the haunted walks, like the brand, like, so the haunted walks, Toronto, Kingston, Ottawa, they actually have paranormal investigations now. So you can actually book for that.
Oh, well, that's good.
Phantoms of Yore. So a lot of people have mixed feelings, I'll say. I've heard a lot of things. I'm not gonna say, but they do like the Cornwall Jail. They do Lost Villages or Upper Canada Village, and a whole bunch of other locations where you can go and investigate. Now, I don't know if they give I don't know if they like do the same thing like we do, where they like, here's some equipment, let's do it, or if you just follow them around while they do it. I don't know. I haven't heard that much. But they do that now, but it costs it's a fair bit. But teach their own.
And then who gets the money then? Would that be the Haunted Walk Corporation or business?
I'm going to say that it's probably split some way, but Haunted Walks is definitely going to take their share. They are a business, they got to keep running, they got to pay their employees. So, but yeah.
Fair enough. But I like the fact that the money goes to the places that, I mean, we're volunteering our time. And that can get, if we're driving an hour and a half somewhere, but we kind of love it. So that's why we do it. And I'm
Exactly.
glad that these places, especially some of them that ordinarily aren't getting a lot of traffic through the door. So if these events that we do is what's keeping them afloat or bringing in new business and new eyes, and then people are going to go, oh, I want to come back here during the day. That's perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. And that's what we want to do.
And I guarantee, especially at Lang's Pioneer Village, they're going to have a bunch of people go back there during the day to go back into those buildings, because even though it's like 40 minutes, I think we spend investigating a place, when stuff starts happening, you just want to stay and you want to like capture that moment again.
It's
So
just
I
like
bet they're gonna get
it's just like
people.
when we investigate places and things start happening and we just want to stay, but we have to leave.
Exactly. Yep. And that can sometimes be the way. I think we talked about that in the last podcast, where nothing can be happening. And then 20 minutes before we leave, all heck loose. And we're like,
Yeah.
oh, God. And because we're on a, you know, most places are like, okay, we gotta go home, get out of here. And we're like, ugh, thanks,
So, yeah.
ghosts.
Jeez. Way to, make it a night. But yeah, but if like in Ontario, like the haunted walks is like the big one. They even have one, they're doing one at the CN Tower.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that? They have one at the CN Tower. You're actually going up to the actual like sky pod to investigate.
But what's haunted about the CN Tower?
I don't know.
Or do they just say the word haunted and then it's like,
I guess so.
now the ghosts
I have no
are
idea,
coming.
because I was just like, I've never heard of that place being haunted, but you never know. Maybe somebody's just hanging up there because, I don't know, it's close to the sky. I don't freaking know. But yeah, no, you can investigate the CN Tower.
Okay. Okay, then.
I don't know, but you know what? If people want to do that, go right ahead. It's your money, not mine. So just saying.
Wow. CN Tower. Okay.
I apologize for all my coughing, but yeah. But so you have that one, and then the Niagara on the Lake one is actually really good. Ryan took us on that one. And they walk you around. They walk you around. You are walking. The storytellers there are really, really good. And you can actually go afterwards to everywhere that you've walked, and you can kind of visit on your own. You just have to be mindful of, some of them are private residents, some of them are hotel areas. So you just don't want to be like impeding on anybody's personal stuff. But it's pretty cool, that one. And then, you have all of ours.
Yep.
I did some looking into the stuff, like, I know you're doing like out west, but like I was looking out east, and some provinces have like one.
Yeah. That's called Saskatchewan.
And
like,
Quebec.
oh. Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought Quebec would have like, because especially Quebec, isn't that like pretty cool?
The New France, yeah. It's like the first place where everybody came, other than Newfoundland. But yeah, I just have like ghost tours of Quebec. I'm just reading off my phone while I do this because I can't put it up here. Well, I could, but then everybody see it. But it's like ghost tours of Quebec, and it's almost like haunted walks, I'm going to say. But yeah, so it's like literally one type of tour. So I guess they just take you around. I'm not quite sure. Oh no, I'm just reading people's experiences. Let's see here. It says that it's like so costume guides of ghost tours of Quebec strike a match and light their lanterns. Eager ticket holders wait in anticipation, for they know they will be led on a 90-minute walking tour through the streets of old Quebec to hear 400 years of stories of murder, executions, mysterious ghost sightings, tragedies, and hauntings. It had me at murder.
Wow. I'm so shocked that there's only one kind of thing that does that.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything else when I was looking. Now, maybe I wasn't looking in the right spots, but that's it for that one. New Brunswick only had one too as well that I could find that, you know, when I was like searching like paranormal tours, paranormal public events and all that kind of stuff. And it's called, in New Brunswick, it's called the Haunted Hike. And again,
Okay.
it's a group of actors in period costumes for a performance
Oh, geez.
based ghost tour. Because the nighttime adventure will give you spine-tingling frights and rib-tickling laughs. So it's in
Wow.
Fredericton. And so I guess you go through historic Fredericton in the downtown area, and you kind of learn more about its haunted past. So yeah.
All right.
So I have that. I found that one. Now, Nova Scotia actually had a few different parts of Nova Scotia, which is kind of cool. So, Annapolis Valley has its ghost walks. Like, this is all I could find out there was ghost walks. It's like, it says family friendly historical productions with Jerome, the gravekeeper, and his ghostly friends throughout the streets and cemeteries of Annapolis Valley.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, and again, a lot of it is like production, like performance. Like they're having like people act things out. I don't know. I don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they call them shows. Yeah, so they take you through like cemeteries and towns. Oh, they have a compilation ghost talk. Ooh. Oh, when they do shows, they're like, oh yeah, when they do walks and stuff, they tell you that it was completed with 31 brave souls. Yeah, that's great.
Wow. See, my thing with those is it really depends on your guide. If you have someone that's like really charismatic and knows all about where they are and they're historians even, that's great. But if you have someone that is so monotone and they're just like, over here is a building that was built and someone died, it's the shittiest thing. And that's my, like, I've been on a lot of historic walks and ghost tours, and that's my pet peeve. People are paying money, and if you can't get into the building, at least make it really exciting and interesting. One of the worst ones I ever went on was in New Orleans. The guy was so monotone. First of all, let me start at the beginning. When you buy tickets, you get a free drink, alcoholic drink, in a solo cup. Okay. And it's called the Hurricane. And it's got like 15 different types of alcohol in it. It's just alcohol. There's nothing else in it. It's just alcohol. That's great. So my sister and I get this drink and I take a sip and I'm like, well, you're going to be trashed just smelling this, because my sister doesn't really drink. And she's like, really? It sounded delicious. We were hammered before the thing even started. Okay. So now you've got like 15 drunk people that you're cruising down the street. It's New Orleans. So everything's nuts. The guy's just like, this is the house from where the back. Like, I don't even remember it, honestly. We left halfway through because it was so boring and we got in trouble because we were laughing so hard.
Oh my
and
God.
I think he was telling a really sad story about people being killed, and we were like, because we were hammered. So yeah, but so that part was good, the drunk part. But other than that, I think what it is they're like, this guy sucks, so let's just get them drunk, and then they'll think that it's a great time. But it was so bad, and honestly, it's a lot of walking, which I don't mind. I like walking, but you have to be entertaining, and if there's not much substance to it or to you, it's shit.
It's true. It's true. And then, like, another one of my big pet peeves when it comes to public events and stuff like the haunted walks is misinformation.
Oh, yes.
And, you know, everybody has an idea of what certain things are, and certain paranormal groups and stuff will define paranormal terminology different ways. And that's fine. There's not really one set definition. However, there are certain things that people know are not, you know, what people are trying to say they are. So, for example, I went on a ghost walk in June. I'm not going to say where.
Okay.
But the person that we were like who took the tour, like who's doing the tour, it was her first time. So she's just regurgitating information. She's read this, she's memorized the script, right? Totally understandable. That's totally fine. I get it, right? Like, you know, it's really nerve-wracking your first time when you're doing almost like when you're public speaking.
Right.
Not a problem. That wasn't the issue. The issue was that there was some misinformation in the stuff that she was regurgitating. So, for example, they were talking about a poltergeist, and the guide was saying, so a poltergeist is the spirit of a child.
What? Like Poltergeist the movie?
No, it's not. A poltergeist is energy. Like, this is energy. It has no there's no defined definition, identity, nothing to it. No, it's not a child. A poltergeist is not a child. It just drives me nuts. That stuff drives me nuts. And another thing is, if you're going and doing a ghost walk, make sure you have a lot of like as a person putting on the walk, or even the paranormal event, that you have a lot of examples and stuff, and you're not referring to one specific group or television show over and over and over again. Like, in this room, this is where blah 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 show, you know, captured this, and then, you know, walk 10 feet and like, oh, in this room, this is where the blah 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 show captured this. Like, give me some more context, give me some more stories. Like, there's got to be more than one story or one, you know, experience or something, because usually it's not just a one and done. Like, if you're doing one of these ghost walks, these reports and stuff have been going on for quite a while. So that's one thing that I can't stand. I understand where they're coming from, but for me, that's where I just check out.
It's really funny you say that, because my sister and I were in Charleston, South Carolina earlier this year. And we visited I think it's the old Exchange Post and Dungeon or something. And we went specifically through that like building and did the tour through them. And in the basement of this very historic building is a dungeon that was used for some war, blah, blah, blah. So someone in our group, and the tour guide there, lovely, extremely knowledgeable gentleman, retired gentleman. And he's saying all these things. And then someone piped up and said, oh, we heard that at some point there was a big flood and it drowned all of the people who were kept here because they were all chained up. And he just went, you went on blah, 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 ghost tour, didn't you? And they were like, yeah. And he's like, unfortunately, they're full of shit. He's like, all of the things they say is just to get you like pumped up and riled up. He's like, there's been no flooding here, no drowning. He's like, there were a couple of deaths from, you know, like infection or whatever, but he's like, there was nothing that these people say. Like, it angers me because they're tarnishing the true history to make a buck. And then fast forward like 2 months later, Ryan's like, oh, we went to Charleston and I gotta tell you about this place, blah, 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 blah. And he told me, and he was telling me, and he's like, oh, and then they were drowned in this thing. And I was like, oh dear, you went on one of those things. But we would never have known that unless this guy had told us. And that's the thing with some ghost tours and walks, is that they do fabricate things to make it more interesting or whatever. But you are literally tarnishing the history of that building. Like, you don't need to ramp it up, really. Like, why do you need to talk about fake atrocities? There were more than enough that happened there.
Exactly. And that's the one thing I like about the haunted walks in Ontario is a lot of their stuff is sourced. They go straight to the source. They go to those who've experienced it. They do the history. They do that research. I will give them credit for that.
Mm-hmm. And that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. Speaking of other ghost tours, well, I'm gonna pull this one up. This one's in Halifax in Nova Scotia. It's a walking tour through Halifax's downtown core with tales of ghosts, spirits, forerunners, and devils.
Ooh.
It's collected from the folklore of Nova Scotia.
Nice.
So yeah. So it says with a decent helping of historical context to lay the groundwork for each story. So that's pretty cool. I guess it starts at the Old Town Clock and finishes on the waterfront by the Maritime Museum.
Oh.
Isn't that where the Titanic graves are? Close to that, near the Maritime Museum?
You're asking the wrong person.
I want to go there.
Yeah, I don't know much about out east. I haven't actually been.
I went to Nova Scotia once.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Girl Guides. It was a structured tour. So yeah, we went to all out east. So we did PEI in Nova Scotia. So, you know, and Green Gables. I went to all those places.
Lovely.
We did the Cabot Trail, which is a hell of a drive in the fog. Didn't see nothing. And then we went to the Fortress of Louisbourg, which is like a Fort Henry. It's pretty freaking cool. It's haunted. I definitely go back if someone wants to offer.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun time. Yeah.
Nice.
So, and then again out in Halifax, you have the Halifax Citadel Ghost Tour. It says, climb to the top of the Halifax Citadel National Historic Site and meet your historically costumed guide on the drawbridge at the main gates of the Halifax Citadel. For 70 minutes, you'll be led by candlelight through tunnels and prison cells and hear true accounts of unexplained events in their actual locations. That one sounds interesting.
Yeah, that does.
So I almost want to go on that one. Let's go to Halifax for the weekend.
Road trip. Maybe not this time of year, but
it takes 24 hours to get to PEI. If you drive straight.
Well, there's enough of us that can take the wheel.
Shifts. Speaking of PEI, I only found one too. Spooky Charlottetown Ghost Tours. This is the Spooky Charlottetown Ghost Tours lets visitors in on the haunted history of the historic downtown. Led by a local storytelling guide, this 1-hour tour is a guided walk in beautiful Charlottetown. It says tales are not terrifying or graphic and are family friendly. What the heck is what about ghosts is family friendly? This isn't Casper.
Yeah. That's sometimes the trouble. I mean, I think we all have kids that are interested in it, but it's different. So if they're gearing towards a family one, it's not going to be super haunted. That's going to be the one that's like, here's a house with the ghosts, but they're nice, and then you walk on. They're not going to be like in the basement where they were decapitated.
Fire and brimstone. So, pardon me. And now we're just going to go to the rock here. So I have one for Newfoundland. It's in St. John's. It's called the St. John's Haunted Hike. Apparently everything out in the Maritimes is a hike. And I think they have just a lot of stuff. Like, just looking at their website here, they've got, like, what is this? They've got a Halloween haunted hike. They've got a night of ghostly tales. So yeah, these guys got a lot of different types of events. So I guess it's not just a haunted walk. What is this one here? They even have a haunted hotline. Listen and phone in with your haunted ghostly experiences. Darn, we should start one of those.
A haunted hot. I don't know that we need to open up any more lines for people to call in with their things happening.
Okay, let's see this one. It says, walking through the town, one is surrounded by the memories of public hangings, duels, and horrific murders, passing over forgotten cemeteries and unmarked graves, past buildings known to be visited by those who have passed over to the other side. Vengeful lovers, murdered soldiers, and mysterious fires await those who are brave enough to explore the secrets that lie in wait in St. John's darkest corners.
Wow.
One sounds pretty intriguing too. I think we're making a trip out east at some point.
I think so.
I'm down for that. So yeah, so those are like, we're gonna post. We're like in the comment or the description of this podcast. We'll post the links for all of these so people can check them out and maybe they can book their trips.
Absolutely.
Haunted trips. So what do you got? I gave you some.
Yeah, I have the rest of Canada.
The flat provinces.
Well, British Columbia, we'll start way over that side. So first of all, I misunderstood our assignment and I started looking up places you could go, but man, are they cool. So I will start with, there are like the haunted walks of BC, Vancouver. So we've got, I really like this one, Discover the Past, which are a haunted walk group out of Victoria in British Columbia, because they do multiple different types of tours that you can go on. And it's also really geared towards the history of the place too. So I think they're very knowledgeable. Oh, they look really good here. And tickets are fairly cheap. Like sometimes these can get really costly, but these seem to be about $20 to $30 depending on the night. And they seem to be sold out quite a lot. So they look like they're really popular. Oh, they do year-round group or walks too, which is good because a lot of places only do it around this time of year.
Yeah,
or like, yeah. So then you're like, I'm sorry, are the ghosts done? And they do daytime ones as well for people who are afraid of the dark. So that's a good choice here. So that's Discover the Past, which are walking tours. So you are going to be walking. But then I also looked up some places if you're interested less in just going on a walking tour and sort of hearing about multiple places and you want to go really check out, places by themselves. So first I have to look up the saying of this. Bastian Square? Okay.
Yes. I don't know. Someone out there can correct us.
Exactly. Oh, I'm sure they will. So this is like in the downtown core of Victoria, and it's this old part. It's like multiple, it's like a little village, if you like, but it's multiple shops and everything. And so there's a lot of history in there. There's like the old Supreme Court building, the old jail is in there. So it's like a historic mall or like a square, where you can go with all of the little markets. But it also has a lot of places that are haunted and rich in history. And so while you're maybe getting dinner, you can go to a haunted restaurant that's in there. And so along the way, I think there's different kind of placards and things that you will be able to see why it's a haunted place. But it keeps coming up at number 1 for some reason. So I guess it's really haunted. Then there is Hatley Castle and Gardens, which there's quite a few castles in British Columbia. I did not know that at all. But this was built in, it says 1908, which isn't that old, but
old enough.
Exactly. But it's this really beautiful Edwardian like estate plus the castle. And there are quite a few interesting ghost stories about that place. So if you're going to go check it out, I would. There's also another castle, which is Craig Durack. Okay. Castle. And they have, this is so funny. In their actual website, where it's like, come visit us. It's like, we are not haunted. They don't report any hauntings. But meanwhile, there's like a whole thing on like everyone's experience when they're at this place. So most guests report like a little girl. They report seeing a maid. There's also apparently a man that's roaming around the property. So who knows? I love a place that's like, oh, we're not haunted. And then everyone's like,
Yes. Yes, you are.
here's the evidence to suggest that. So there's many, many places.
Yeah.
Like I could have done an entire thing on BC. But there is another haunted walk. They have, of course, the haunted walk of Vancouver, but Forbidden Vancouver, the Lost Souls of Gust Town Tour, discover the eerie history of Vancouver's oldest neighborhood. It actually looks really cool in the pictures. Oh, and you kind of get to go in. Oh, the pictures, the guy's like, so he's obviously, and they look like they dress up. And they do daytime and nighttime ones as well. Oh, and there's lots of places. I think we need to go to BC. So this looks really good as well. So there's a couple, and we will, of course, will have them in there. And we're not endorsing them because we've never been on them, but these are the ones that come up time and time again, and they seem to get really high reviews, especially in like TripAdvisor. So can't go wrong there. Now, in Alberta, again, there's a couple of really cool places. There's 2 gold mines that you can go check out. One is the Bellevue coal mine. This is 1,000 feet core. So you're 150 feet below the surface. And this was built in 1903. And there was a massive explosion in 1910 where at least 31 men died. They think more than 50 men in total have died down in this mine. But you get to go down in the mine and you're like traveling around. So if you have an issue like claustrophobia or, being underground, probably not for you. But this I can only imagine the energy of that place to go down there and check it out. There's another mine, Atlascoalmine, that was kind of built in the 1930s, and then it became a historic site in 1987. But this is most popular with ghost enthusiasts. So apparently, it just says there were many mining accidents and deaths, but it doesn't go into detail about them. Maybe you have to go there to get all the facts about it. But again, that was one, it popped up quite a bit. And I think it's like half a day at least that you're going to be there checking all that fun stuff out. There's also Banff Ghost Walks, which is like an evening thing. And again, you're going to be doing like a ghost walk, as well as Canmore Ghost Walks, which 90% of travelers recommend. So there you go, 90%. That's a lot. Again, they seem to just do evening walks, but they might do some daytime ones. They're fairly reasonably priced too, I would say. This one I really like. So Ghosts of Drumhella, and this is a smartphone audio tour. So you just download the thing and then you go on your own and do it, which I love. So my sister and I just did this a few years ago. Most of them are free. I think this one, I don't know if you have to pay for the download, but most places now you can do the free download and then you do it at your own pace. And you just stop and you press whatever, and then you hear the thing, which I think is kind of cool because then you're not on a timeline and you're not rushing and you don't have 15 other people trying to take pictures and stuff as well. So that's a good option if you want to meander around and you don't want to be, stuck in a place for a couple of hours with a tour. So that's Ghosts of Drumhella. And you basically are going, there's quite a few locations, 19 different, I think. So that's quite a lot.
That is.
Now, if you're going to Saskatchewan, like I was recently, there's I can't even read my writing on this one. Oh, Ghost Story Tours, Government House. So Government House, this is free, by the way. Government House was built in 1883. It's a National Historic Site. It has a ton of artifacts from just the general area as well. So it's kind of like a museum, but it's a little slice of history as well. I'm not sure why it's haunted, but apparently very haunted. So you can go there, learn some stuff about the land and also about the Government House. And that's it.
That's not a surprise for Saskatchewan.
Right. But I'll say this.
Pretty flat.
There were so many abandoned cool places when we were driving. There's quite a few like ghost towns that you can look up. There's also the Screaming House, because of course, when we were there, I'm like, haunted places to go to. The Screaming House, which I'm positive we drove by, but I didn't realize what it was at the time, is just this old abandoned house. It has a sad story and blah, 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 a woman in white. But it's a super popular place for people to go and experience creepy old abandoned house with someone who screams in it, apparently. I think it's probably like...
Didn't we have one in this? Oh, you probably wouldn't know. I think there was one in like Markham or something like that somewhere. Allison knows the story. I think she had it happen to her. I don't know. But
they're everywhere.
Has a screaming house.
Yes.
I know my street had a screaming house.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of abandoned little towns. Like we drove through them and it's like everyone just got up and left. So
oh my goodness.
The only thing I'd say about that is I would assume they're considered private property and no trespassing. But there is an actual ghost town that you can go to. I neglected to write that down. I don't know why. That has like 20 buildings in it. And it is now a place that I think you buy tickets and you can go walk around and look. But just in general, first of all, it's extremely flat. So you can see all the stuff wherever you are, I think. But not a lot. I don't know why there's not more haunted. Maybe because everything is like 500 miles apart. So it would be like the longest walking tour ever. But not much.
You get your steps in.
Yes. And then you would become part of the haunted walk because you would die along the way. And then they'd be like, here's where the last tour died.
Yeah. The exhaustion kicked in.
Exactly. And then Manitoba. So they have like the Winnipeg Ghost Walks, of course. And they have multiple different tours. So it's not like just one loop that you go on. So there's a few different ones you could try. And they're only about $20. And it's like, 1 to 2 hours to walk around. That's not so bad. There's also the Trolley of Terror.
Oh my God. That's like the one in Kingston.
There you go. So this...
Where the guy just sat there and drove the bus. He's like, I wonder. And oh, don't worry, people. Ghosts can't cross water.
Oh,
that's like literally what me and Allison did on the bus, on the trolley. We're like, ghosts can't cross water? Isn't water a highway for them? They can't cross it? What the?
They can walk through the cement wall, but not the water.
Don't worry.
Why were you worried?
Over the water in the bus. They'll just hop on board then. They're just gonna go across with the freaking trolley. Like, are you really? Give me the damn microphone. I'll tell everybody. He was a good driver, but again, misinformation.
Wow. Well, let's hope this one is not like that. But it looked super cool. And it's a really good option if walking is an issue for you. Or if you're just lazy, you just get to sit and drive along. Or if the weather's bad too, that's another good thing as well. And if you get a good driver, it's going to be amazing. I mean, you have to understand that if you're on the trolley, you're just literally driving by. You're probably not even slowing down to stop to look at these places.
Yeah.
So get your cameras ready to take it as you go by. But for some, that's perfect. Some don't need more than that. They just want to look at it.
Yeah, and the one in Kingston, I don't know if they still do it, but when we went on it, they actually they took the trolley through the cemetery, the Cataraqui Cemetery, which is the big cemetery where Sir John A. Macdonald and all that is buried. And they take the bus in the cemetery, and you go around and you stop and you get off the bus. You could walk around amongst the graves for like 20 minutes or so, and then you get back on the bus and you continue on the tour.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. I don't know if they still do that anymore. They might drive through the cemetery. I don't know if they stop. But yeah.
Wow, that would be tricky to make sure that everyone got back on.
That's true.
At the end.
And
then imagine you're taking pictures of the grave and you turn around and the bus is driving off and you're like, I mean,
and the Cataraqui Cemetery in Kingston is massive. It is huge. But they take you to where the Sir John A. Macdonald gravesite is, and that's where you get off, and that's where most people just want to take a look, and then they just get back on the bus. Their trolley, the little trolley.
Wow. I would love that. Although I would be in the cemetery anyways.
We should go
on that tour.
We should go.
We should. When I was looking up, so in Victoria, there's Rose Bay Cemetery, which is absolutely massive. So if you're into cemeteries, and it's haunted. Okay. But yeah, it's beautiful. When I was looking up this information, I was like, oh, why didn't I go there when I was in? But anyways, whatever. So again, with Winnipeg in Manitoba, so there's also the most haunted smartphone audio tour as well. So that's another one that you download and you go on your own. It is a walking tour. It's about 5 kilometers. But that sounds really interesting as well. And again, you do it at your own pace. So you can go around, and then if you want more information, you can go into the buildings and ask. But you get to go around and look and take your time and take pictures and different angles. And it's not just like, look it, and we're off, people, we're off. Let's go.
Yeah.
Can the drunk people at the back stop laughing?
And you don't have to wait for anybody. You're just doing it on your own. There's no people.
That's so the reason my sister and I found that, I don't even remember which place we were at, but then we're not on anyone's time line. So if we wake up in the morning, because most time when you buy a ticket, you put a time spot, right? And then we're not like, oh, we got to rush because we got to be here. No, we can go do this whenever we want, and we can do half of it, go eat, go do whatever, and then finish the rest. Like, it's great. You don't get the same atmosphere as if you were with a group.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I do really like that.
Yeah.
In terms of a tour, I mean, it's not like we could do something like that where.
No.
Oh, maybe we could. We could have holograms of ourselves in each of the buildings, and then we just like, welcome. Over in the corner.
We should just do one at Lang's, and people can download it, and then Ryan can just sit there and tell them over and over again the mill stories. And then you can add yours now too.
I know.
But then we don't have to sit there and listen to Ryan say it over and over again, because he's just a hologram and I don't have to listen to it. Again.
Oh boy.
So yeah.
He loves that story.
Yeah, I know. Both of them now. Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, so that is like Spooky Tour Canada.
Yeah, because I mean, well, this is going to be airing right before Halloween, so it is their busy time. But it shouldn't just be ghosts. Don't just wait for Halloween.
Oh,
they don't. And probably they have on their calendars Halloween, and they're like, you know what, we need to stay inside. People are crazy that day.
Yeah.
So no.
Those weird people are all out there.
Exactly. They're dressed like us. Yeah, it's weird.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so if anybody has any like other things that they know that their province does, or they want to share other things that they've been on, we'd love to hear it. You can email that to us at paranormalpodcast@gmail.com. So it's PAREHNORMAL podcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear it, and we can post the comments and stuff in the description or even on our Facebook page. So yeah, you can find us on Facebook. Just look for Paranormal Podcast. We're also on Instagram as well. at Paranormal Podcast. And you can also find us on TikTok at Paranormal Podcast. Just make sure that other A is EH because we're Canadian.
A.
Yeah, A. So next week, we're going to discuss equipment and what we like, what we don't, what works, what we think is garbage, all that fun stuff. And
Yeah.
you also have a piece of equipment you're looking to get tested. Hey, we're open. Trying anything.
Absolutely. And we do. We do.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so yeah, I guess that's the end of this.
It is. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, it's great. We love it. Yeah, so just like and share and let us know what you think and follow so we can keep doing all this fun stuff and talking about fun stuff. So yeah.
And go ahead and look at our upcoming public events and join us. See for yourself.
Speaking of which, we're all getting booked up for October 2025.
I did see that.
I know. So if you are a location and you're really thinking right now for next year, better book your dates now because we're already booking up and we're not even done October 2024. This is awesome.
It really is.
So yeah. Anyways, all right, guys. Have a great night. And send us your suggestions, your questions, your stories. Can't wait to read them. We will talk later.
Yes. And happy Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween. Oh my goodness.
I know.
Goodbye. I'm gonna go hunt in my sleep.